Welcome to a new Kirblog about the new My Hero Academia movie that is old by now, but I just saw it recently and I liked it a lot, so I decided to review it for you all, and I hope that is okay with you or I will die. I won't though. Or I might, I don't know, I'm very fatigued. I just got my first of the two vaccine shots a couple days before this is releasing. I'm recording this on a Friday, halfway through April here. Sorry, I still haven't been doing a whole lot of new Kirblog lately. I wanted to get at least like one done a month, and I haven't had much reason to stream. I've been preoccupied with a lot of different things. Whatever, excuses. Anyway, I saw My Hero Academia, Heroes Rising, just a couple weeks ago, and thought, you know what, it's still fresh in my mind. I should do a little review of it, because I think I did one of the previous movie. I can't remember if I did. A lot of folks, when I went into this, were saying, oh man, it's way better than the first movie, and etc. And I guess, I don't know, in retrospect, people seem to be kind of like down on the first one. I still quite like the first one a lot, even after having seen Rising, and I definitely agree it is better than the first one. But the first one, Two Heroes, was just, I don't know, it was a fun little adventure. And that's kind of the most that I really sort of expect from shonen anime, Shonen Jump, specifically anime tie-in movies. Is just like, it's a fun little adventure. A new bad guy shows up, he has underlings, our heroes defeat them, the end, we move on. And I feel like both kind of share that in common as per the usual. But this one was kind of hyped up to me quite a bit. I remember actually Cliff, voice of Bakugo, who we've had as a guest on Kirblog back when season 2 was starting, I believe. So it's been a while already. We're at season 5, of course, has just premiered very recently. He was telling me a while ago, like, oh, dude, it's got like my best Bakugo performance stuff in it yet, like, and it's really some really good story material for him. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm interested, because I've warmed up a little bit to Bakugo. I haven't really done like, season reviews of My Hero or anything really, in the way that I have with other shows, I guess. But Bakugo has definitely grown on me as a character. He's still not like one of my favorites necessarily. But I've grown to like have somewhat of an understanding with the way that he is, and I've talked a little bit about that before. But yeah, so I went into this one pretty interested, and as far as I understand, I think that Horikoshi, I think that's his name, the creator of My Hero, I think is pretty involved with like the production side of the movies. So it is one of those things where it's also like, oh, could this fit in? Is it, I hate this word, but could it be canon to the overall story? And it's, who could say? I like to think that these kind of stories, when they're made in tandem with the creator, like they kind of like soft fit in a little bit. It's like they're not imperative to like the main overarching everything or whatever. But what I appreciated is that, especially with the usage of the villain character Nine, it seemed like they really kind of did try to have it really play by the rules of like, what the deal was with the story and everything. And that's something that I kind of appreciated a lot. Just the idea of having like, okay, what if we took like the concept of what All For One, his ability of, taking other people's powers and everything are, and then, really playing with that a lot. Like that was interesting to me. I liked that. So yeah, just going through it. A few different things about this one in particular that really stood out to me. It's funny when you have, I was just talking about this with some friends recently about when you try to do the thing where like, okay, we need to establish like stakes and some, something for the heroes to protect, especially when you have superhero stories, having those relatable, like non-superhero characters or otherwise that like, you want to make sure that they're well protected and everything. Sometimes that's tough. Like that was always kind of my argument for like, and this could be a whole nother separate topic, but it's something that I'm sure Kaiser Neko and I have talked many times about in the Steven Universe Kirblogs we did years ago. Just the whole thing about like, when you want to give attention to like villagers and sort of like regular people and everything, to establish like a connection to them and everything so that you like them as characters and then, care about their safety and everything. I think that somehow this movie managed to pull that off, not only with Katsuma and Mahoro, the two little kids, but I think just in general with like the villagers, like because the fact that like it was, to me anyway, it was noticeable that it was like, recurring characters that you would see like, throughout the different scenes. Like there was like, the older lady that was taking care of the kids at times. And, that the two, like, I think like early 20s, like lovey-dovey couple that you'd see here and there and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Like they're trying to give them like, little bits of character just to gleam from those little, few scenes here and there. And I was like, okay, I can appreciate that. And Katsuma and Mahoro, I actually really liked them a lot. Like they weren't too annoying. They didn't overstay their welcome. Like they were fun. And even from a performance standpoint too, I mean, Danny Chambers, those of you who haven't tuned into any of her Twitch streams, she and I have become friends, so I was very excited about hearing her as this character in this. And it's been a long time since I heard Maxie Whitehead as well, because she's pretty sparse with, I think, the anime that she does in recent years. But yeah, she was fantastic in this movie as the boy. Yeah, they I think kind of, they along with the villagers kind of help establish that purpose of like, okay, yeah, like if we're going with this sort of controlled environment of like all the kids are here, like this is their duty alone. They don't have like a backup of like, the professional like bigwig heroes and everything coming in to save the day and anything. I think that establishment kind of worked very well. Something I felt kind of like a little 50-50 about was the villains, the underlings. So I liked them. I thought, because when you have like movie henchmen characters, like I know this even from my own experience of experimenting around with these kind of character tropes, for the most part, really all they have to do is just be fun and interesting and entertaining or whatever. Like they all had really cool powers. Even just like Chimera, like his design was very striking, and just him like the transforming aspects of like his body and everything. Mummy was cool with the the wraps and stuff, and also Brendan Jello Apocalypse did a fantastic job on him. And Slice with the cool sort of like hair needles and everything was pretty badass. They all had some great fight scenes, of course. I think my only thing that I was kind of like about was, I guess I wish that either one of two different things were a little bit more in depth with them. Not that I expect too much to be in depth with, Shonen Jump movie villain underlings, but just this is something that I feel like, oh, we could have gotten a little bit more of this. It would have been interesting to see, is maybe either a little bit more of their like direct connection to Nine by way of like just their emotional attachment to why they follow him. And why they like, care about him as an actual person and everything, and why they're doing this plan with him. Or I almost wish that they went just like full all in on Nine's, kind of like evil side and everything, of just, his lack of compassion for people, and that maybe he would have used them more. Because I think it also could have been neat if they were designed to ultimately be, powers that he could take. To fill up those slots of the 9 different powers that he was allowed to have and everything. Because the whole concept of like, okay, it's kind of like a all for one light, like with a limitation to it, like that in and of itself, like that wasn't like, oh, whatever, like that was a cool idea. I really genuinely liked that as the concept for a movie bad guy. I wish that maybe they just could have tied some of those things in a little bit more, could have, then made 9 even more intimidating, could have given them a little bit more of an emotional purpose and everything. Even if he was just like, yeah, whatever, screw you guys, you're all just my tools. And they're like, that's fine, use this for whatever you want, sir, because we believe in you. It just could have been interesting to see a little bit more played around with that at some point. But the biggest thing, and I know that this has been a very nice thing people have been very up on for this movie in general, why people seem to really appreciate it a lot, is the fact that, in addition to, of course, Deku and Bakugo getting a lot of great scenes, and just, like them outside of the house, and then they go looking for the kids and everything together, I think the fact that all of Class 1A, they all individually got a moment to shine. Like every single one of them had like they got to do like something of importance throughout this movie. And the fact that, because let me kind of on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, 20 characters to balance between, and even, I guess it's like an hour and a half, close to 2 hours or whatever movie. Like, that's pretty incredible, because even in the show where like you have more time to do something like that, there are still times where I feel like, I wish we'd explore, a little bit more about some of the other ones. Like, I feel like they all only ever get like a scene in an episode where we learn like a little bit more about their backstory or something, and like that's it, or if we're lucky, we might get like a whole episode. Like Hiroshima, I think, had like his whole flashback episode or whatever, which was cute. But yeah, I don't know. Like that. So that's something that sometimes lets me down a little bit with the show here and there. But somehow, in just the scope of this movie, like it was nice to see. How they just managed to like, and even more so than that, like the cameos they give to all the other characters, like the villain group, Mr. Press and Spinner and all those guys, Dobby, and even Rocklock and Chairman Mara, like some of those guys, just like getting little scenes. Even the evil doctor guy, that I guess that was a little bit of a spoiler ahead of like the I guess official reveal that character is part of the All for One villain group or whatever. Although I guess it's kind of semi-common knowledge, especially after the whole like issue that happened with his name. Oops. But I guess but sorry. Anyway, nonetheless, I thought that was cool that like for having so many characters stuffed into this. It was really impressive to see like how well they really genuinely managed to balance them all out, and so that was a nice thing. And I guess it looks like the next movie is going to be very focused, particularly around the trio of Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki, I guess. So that should be kind of interesting to see. I've been trying to not look too much into the plot of that one, because I went into this one like relatively blind, other than just knowing like that there were new characters, and I saw pictures of them, obviously. But I was I don't know. I was curious to. I'll be curious to go in hopefully blind to the third one, because it's kind of interesting to just like just see what happens and you just enjoy the characters for what they are and everything. Animation wise, I mean, as I expected, they always go balls to the walls with the animation for these little side movies and everything. Obviously, of course, the ones that really stuck out to me were the battle again and on like the shoreline, particularly. It's funny. Slice, the hair needle girl, she had two cool environments for her fights, because the shoreline, like with like the ships and everything, and then also in that big cave where I think, what was she fighting? Was it, I think, Uraraka? I can't remember. Those were like, it's funny, the environments I remember more so, but that was cool just to kind of see like the elaborate nature of that sort of thing. And then of course, like the entire 9 battle was incredible. Like just the first phase of it with like the opposite kind of setup, where it's like usually it's the heroes infiltrating a villain's lair, trying to get to where the final villain is, and fighting all the guys on the way. And in the opposite case, again, great usage of the 20 student characters, is having a fortress that the single incredibly powerful bad guy is just decimating through, and they're all basically like different lines of defense in order to protect these 2 kids. Like that was a great like design wise, that's a great like scene for the whole movie, from start to finish. Like I loved that. So yeah, that was fantastic. And then of course the second phase of that, where it's just the big Deku and Bakugo like final, that particularly that part where like it's just the music, there's no sound effects, and just the animation. The animators went insane on all the choreography and the special effects and just everything like that. That blew my mind. And I was expecting like we get something of that level of quality for like the big final stuff, because it's strange. There was a moment in like the very beginning where for just it didn't last for long, but like it was feeling a little bit like it was just like, oh, it's just like a long episode of the show and not like a featured film or whatever. But then like once it kicked in, like pretty shortly after that, like that feeling went away, and it really captured me a lot. So I'm really liking what they've been doing with these movies. I'm going to assume they'll probably continue to do one like I guess every couple of years or whatever, because I guess looking back again here, because this last one came out in Japan in 2019, I guess. And then it looks like, okay, yeah, then the next one was done in the one before that, rather, I should say, was done in 2018. I think the next one is coming out later this year. So it seems like once every like year or a couple of years or whatever, which, that's fine with me. It's because it's funny, I was looking back on some of the old Dragon Ball Z movies, the 13 of those, and I realized like, good Lord, some of those ones, and granted they're small little like 40 to 50 minute little chunks or whatever, but they would do sometimes like 2 of those a year, and I'm like, good Lord, man, like you can make it a little bit more special, it's okay. So I'm kind of glad that they're taking a touch more time, not quite as much as like One Piece takes time in between movies or whatever, but still a nice, little usage of that and everything. So it was cool. I guess on the same note, so far I've only seen the first episode of season 5, and of course, just kind of a reestablishment of like, all these characters, and here they are just having fun and everything, but just the next level of their training and school and everything. But I don't know, I was still excited again to see these characters. I think that on that same note about the time it takes between movies, I think in a similar fashion, the time it takes between seasons, I think that does help establish to make it a little bit more special now, because I don't keep up with the manga, and I don't even I don't watch them in Japanese either. I wait for the dub to come out, and I think that the time it takes between each season and the way that Studio Bones has managed to set this up and everything, I really do kind of like that. They've managed to just make it feel kind of special, so that it's not just like drawing out the canon plot and probably adding a lot of filler episodes, to the point where now it's funny because now when they'll do filler episodes or little extra ones like the Suyu episode that I think was in the second or third season, I can't remember, like then it's special, then it's like exciting when it's like all new material, whether or not the original creator is involved or otherwise. That's just, I don't know, that's kind of a neat thing to see. So it's exciting, and I don't know what I'm in store for, particularly in this season in terms of like what the major villain is and everything. I guess I'm learning more and more about Hawks, who is and also Mirko, although I just got the little taste of her and Hawks in this past season. So I guess I'll be learning very soon why people just love and adore them, and they both appear on my Twitter timeline every 2 seconds of every day. But yeah, so that's it. Overall, really enjoyed it. Definitely an improvement over the first movie, but I like them both a lot, and it's making me very excited about the next one, I guess later this year. So yeah, My Hero, has really captured my heart. It's become a big show that maybe not one of like my top favorites forever, but it's one that I've definitely got a lot of emotional stock in, and it's hard to avoid some of the spoilers about certain things. I've had a couple things ruined for me, unfortunately, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But it is still, I'm still very, I'm in it for the long run. I'm not getting the sense of like, other past Shonen Jump long running series like Naruto or Bleach or whatever, where like, it just kind of lost me after a while. I feel like this is actually more in that same caliber as One Piece. We're like, nope, you know what? I'm on board. I'm in this for the long haul, and it's gonna be a good time, I would say. So yeah. All right, well, that'll do it. I guess to all of you guys, if you, well, I'm assuming you listened to this because you saw the movie. So what did you think of My Hero, Heroes Rising? And anything that you didn't like about it that you wish could have been improved upon? Any particular favorite parts or favorite moments for certain characters or anything like that? Any particular hopes or dreams or aspirations about the third movie coming up, which I can't remember the name of off the top of my head? Let me know in the comments below. And I want to continue, again, to try to do little Kirblogs like this, like every so often, just to, keep the channel alive. I've been doing those Google Chrome, Music Maker videos here and there as well. But yeah, give me some other suggestions if you got any for other future Kirblog topics. I'll try to, continue to come up with my own as, I have ideas for things. And thanks a bunch. And like and subscribe. You got it. All right, bye.